WVTC Radio Detroit. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, X, and our website, www.wvtcdetroit.com, or download our WVTC app from the Play Store for Android users and the App Store for iPhone users.
Do not pass me by. Do not pass me by.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to My Sister, Your Sister, where connection, conversation, and Christ come together. We're coming to you live every third Tuesday at
8 p.m. Eastern,
right here on the award-winning station WVTC Detroit. Now let's dive deep into sisterhood, spirituality, and subjects that matter.
Pass me not, oh gentle Savior. Hear my humble cry. While others thou art calling.
What's up? Welcome to My Sister, Your Sister podcast, talk show, broadcast
All of
on WVTC, where we are winning victory through Christ. What's up, people? Hello, Detroit. Hello, Detroit. Listen, I was just listening to that song. So, hey, I haven't seen y'all in so long. I feel like it's been forever. Happy New Year. Yes, it is a wonderful February day. And yes, the weather out here is nice.
I'm
I'm
40
enjoying
degrees.
it.
I put it in perspective.
Yeah.
40 degrees feel like summer.
But I'm enjoying it.
the high was 52 today. That was
Yes,
for
it was
February.
good for February.
That's awesome
So
for February.
listen, we are excited about tonight. Yeah, it is Black History Month, and
Yes,
so
it is.
we are going to explore that topic on tonight. But before we do, we also want to say hello to our dear sister Randy Butler, who is on sabbatical from us right now, but she is coming back, and we are just going to say, hey sis, we love you.
We holding it down. We holding
We're
it
gonna
down.
hold it down till you get back with us.
Hey, Sandy.
Hey, Sandy. Oh, the
And I
beautiful
think
Sandy
Teresa.
Rose. Yes,
Yeah,
of course, Teresa. We love you, girl. We appreciate you. Okay,
Yeah,
both
we
of y'all.
do.
Both of
Thank
y'all.
you. Thank you.
Shout out to our engineer, Mr. Larry Whitfield. And of course, to my right and my left, you see the beautiful Tamara Hardy and the beautiful Michelle Johnson. And I am yours truly, Nikki Jones. And we are My Sister, Your Sister. And I'm going to turn it over to my other chocolate sister over here, Michelle Johnson, to take us further into the program.
Yes. I love it. I love it. And this, I did not have to pay them to say it. So as Nikki said, today our conversation will be around Black history, but a little different. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time on the history of it. I think if you don't know, there's Google. Sometimes Series give you a right answer. Sometimes you might have to go down Gemini Road. But either way, either way, you got accessibility to the information to understand where, and how Black History Month was established and started and all the things in between. But today we're going to do a little bit of a pivot, if you will, today because of the news that we all received about the transitioning of our dear Reverend Jesse Jackson. Yes. And it's funny. So, I just wanted to share a couple of highlights about him, and then would love to pass it to Nikki and Tamara to share their sort of reflections on this moment in time, because we lost a great hero of the civil rights movement.
But before you do that reflection, let's just have a moment of silence.
Okay.
I love that. All right.
Okay.
Amen.
Give him his flowers and create some space, for him.
To acknowledge.
To
His
acknowledge.
transition.
Mhm.
Oh, Reverend. Funny story. I did meet him once.
Wow.
I was telling Tamra, it was a colleague of mine. We were in Washington, D.C., and we were at, I don't know, the Continental Hotel. We was at some fancy smancy hotel. And it was one of those rare, it was with Andrew Gatewood.
Were
And
we together? Because I feel like
I don't know. No, I don't know.
DC.
No, I
Okay.
just remember Andrew
Okay.
because, all right, Lord, you know, you created me, so you know how my mind works. So we were sitting there talking, and I caught a couple of men. You know how you could tell these are men who are like on detail, on duty, you know, something official about them. And so in my peripheral, I was talking to Andrew, but I said, some men's coming. You know, my men's radar is always on. And I happened to see Reverend Jesse Jackson. And I was like, Andrew, the good Dr. Reverend Jesse Jackson. Right. I just gave him another degree, another title. And he was like, oh, yes, I'm going to go over there and say hi to him. And I was like straightening my clothes. Like, he said, well, what you doing? I was like, well, just in case. The Reverend want to lay hands, you know, God. So, and I went over there and like, Reverend Jackson. And he was like, you doing? I was like, can I shake your hand? And he was like, absolutely. He's like, how you doing? And I was like, I am so fine. And you are so fine in person. Like,
Wow.
he was really good looking in person. Like when you see him on TV, you might have your, you know,
But that was years ago.
he
too.
looked really good. He looked really good. Even as he aged, I
Yeah.
still felt like he still had, you know,
yeah, he
a
was
look
nice
about
looking
him.
brother.
I hope I have a husband like that. Somebody can hold their looks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And not look like they're falling apart.
Generally, especially our African American men,
Mhm.
they refine as they get older.
It's like,
That is
wow.
so true.
Yeah, they
It's
do.
like
they
they
get
do.
better. They get more distinguished looking, especially with the salt and pepper and all that. But
Yeah.
I digress.
Yeah. So nonetheless, this is not a dating show. So, but the point is, I met him, and it was a blessing to have met him. So it was very sad to hear of his passing and his transitioning. But my leader of my organization sends out these nightly notes, and he sent out a really nice one about Reverend
Oh, really?
Jesse
I have
Jackson.
to
And
put
so,
on LinkedIn.
no, but I'll send it to you.
Yeah, I'd like to read it.
But he starts with, the world has lost one of the greatest civil rights leaders to have blessed this country. Even though the Reverend Jesse Jackson passed just this morning, there have already been scores upon scores of moving testimonials to his life, his influence, and his enduring legacy. And he goes on to point out several things about what, you know, Reverend Jackson has done to really try to secure and submit a country that was no longer being divided by color, by race. The next thing he mentions is that they cast in bright relief a man who was at once a founding member of the civil rights movement of the 60s, who, you know, as you could recall at the Lorraine Motel, he was standing next to our dear Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who was murdered at that motel. A stunningly creative and spellbinding orator, perhaps unsurpassed by for the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. There are endless examples, but I recall how his words enthralled and moved the 1984 Democratic Convention. My constituency is the desperate, the damned, the disinherited, the disrespected, and the despised. And they are restless and seek relief. He was talented. He was a galvanizing community organizer, first with the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, and then with his Operation Push, People United to Save and Serve Humanity, which embodied and advanced his vision of social justice. An electric and game-altering politician, his presidential runs in 1984 and in 1988 were energized by the unprecedented, path-breaking broad tent of the National Rainbow Coalition, which took direct aim at forging common ground through economic equity and opportunity, and secured him for the demographic primary victories in 13 states in 1988. An unlikely diplomat, who played a pivotal role in securing the release of American hostages, held captive in multiple circumstances, You can read more on that. A
Mhm.
role model for generations of civil rights and progressive movement leaders, perhaps most notably, we talked about this earlier, Tamara, Reverend Al Sharpton.
Of course.
These dimensions of his life and career made it inevitable that he would have his critics, and yet whatever criticisms could be launched, whether deserved or not, Jesse Jackson will endure in memory and accomplishments in ways that inspire, invite, and defy simple categorization. I thought those were nice words. And then he
Very, very
concluded,
nice
he had some other stuff, but he concluded all of this and so much more is the potent reminder that so many of Reverend Jackson's qualities stand in the starkest of contrast to the prevailing contemporary political norms, using words and rhetoric to inspire, not to denigrate, building coalitions and vehicles of division, he didn't do, calling people to service, not to be in pursuit of narrow self-interest, and elevating hope and not cynicism. So he had some really, really nice words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all
and
of them so
reflection.
true.
And all of them
I
so
mean,
true.
you know, sometimes when people, you know, transition, people say kind words
Right.
about someone, but they're
But
not
not
always true words.
Well, they usually reach sometimes. You know,
Mhm.
they're,
They might-
they're reaching and they're
Yeah,
just saying nice
exactly.
things to be nice.
Exactly.
Mhm.
But there was a lot to Reverend Jackson. There was a whole lot. What I remember him for are the quotes,
Oh,
how he
yeah.
would always have such rhythmic speeches. You know what I'm saying? He would have the shuns in there, and all the TION words, yes. And so that's what I remember as a child. But what I did for tonight was just kind of pull some of his quotes.
Oh,
Love
that was
that.
nice. That's great.
And because some of them I remember, like the one I remember most was your children need your presence more than your presence. You know what I mean? They need your presence. They need you
Yes.
to be there
They
more
need
than
you
they
to show
need
up.
the things
Mhm.
for you to
Yes.
give them. Your children need your presence
Mhm.
more than your presence. Another one is never look down on anybody unless you're helping him up.
I know that's right. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Another one was at the end of the day, we must go forward with hope and not backward by fear and division.
Mm.
Let me see. Another one. There were so many. I just started highlighting. Of course, my favorite one was Keep Alive.
Yeah.
That's the favorite
need
one.
a
That's the one
t-shirt.
everybody
Keep
knows, right?
Alive.
That's what everybody knows. Another one, leadership cannot just go along to get along. Leadership must meet the moral challenge of the day.
The moral challenge.
They must meet. I mean, they got to meet that
They
challenge.
got the moral challenge.
The moral challenge
He's
of the
questioning
day.
people's
Yes.
values and what they hold dear to their heart.
Yes, and maybe
Right.
that's why he was called the conscience of the nations, because he influenced and helped people, ordinary people. He
Mhm.
believed that ordinary people should have their voices heard.
Absolutely.
That's right.
And there are some individuals who were in leadership position that they were more interested in pontificating
Mhm.
than hearing what others had to say and making sure that their voices were lifted up.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I respected him so much, is because he was about, even Operation Hope, he was about lifting up ordinary voices,
Yeah.
because he understood that one voice could change an entire situation, which is really good. And maybe that's because of his background, his
Of course.
Christian
Mhm.
background. But I love the fact that he was about the one. When
Yeah.
he was about the one. And so that was, I love that
love
about
that.
him.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Another quote here is a man who cannot be enticed by money or intimidated by the threat of jail or death has two of the strongest weapons that anyone has to offer.
I mean, this just spills over to his legacy and his
Mhm.
work with
Yeah.
Robert Abernathy and
Yes.
Martin Luther King. Like, you could tell that these were deep held values about
Mhm.
how they saw the world, and they did not see the world as just black and just white, but they were really pressing for folks to come together because we're
Mhm.
stronger together than we are apart.
Yeah.
I love that.
When you think about the voices of the past, a lot of our African American leaders who have transitioned,
Mhm.
And you look at what we are looking at right now with this world and the economic climate, the climate of hate, the climate of division. What are some of the voices that what's missing from what we see today? Because I don't see the voices that were there in our past, in our future right now, or I should say in our current. So what do you think is lost when you think about it?
I think they're here.
No, I mean, I'm not them lost, but what do you think is missing that was not pulled into now so that those voices are being lifted up the way they were in the past?
I would say a platform.
Yeah.
I would say a platform because that's what they're taking down. That's what they're trying to take away from us on every front. You know what I'm saying? So I
Yes.
think people who have the platform are not using it. And I think people who would actually use that platform the right way don't have it.
Okay.
And I think, because I think there are voices out there that say the right things, that do the right things, but they just don't have the level of influence to have the magnitude or the magnanimous. Did I say that word right?
Yeah.
Go ahead, girl. I went to Renaissance. They don't have a big enough platform.
Yeah.
So that it can be heard over all of the nonsense, because the nonsense is repeated and it's so perpetuated. It's like the lie that's told all the time is more believed than the actual truth.
Yeah. I just saw someone, I missed it. Was it Sandy or?
Yeah, I think it
said
was
that
Sandy.
the church was the platform.
Yeah.
And so has the church watered down this message to the degree that it was in past times that they were not just preaching salvation, but they're also preaching equity.
Quality, yeah.
And so that you see, we were having this conversation. I'm on another board, and we were having this conversation around that the church has changed, is not involved as much as it was in the past.
Bishop just talked about that Sunday.
I was listening a little bit, but this was in a meeting that I was just in, that they're not involved in advocacy work the way they were back in the early 60s and 70s, even some early 80s. They're not as involved. And because of that, the advocacy message has lost some of its flavor. It is not as prolific as it was before because the message isn't getting out there. It's not being lifted up to everybody. And because the lies that are being told, where is the Black church in this work?
Yeah.
So I have a slight view. So 2 points. One, I hold what both of you said. And I think what's missing is that it's so decentralized now. Like before, there might have been there were pieces that were out in different areas. Like when you think about the Freedom Riders and when you think about, these were extension of the larger theme that held Martin Luther King, Jesse, and all of them sort of at the helm, if you will. They were like speaking in the larger national platforms, but there were a lot of work happening underneath them under different titles. And I think what has changed is that it's a little murky to see the organizational chart of the work. It's just a little bit more diffused.
I can see that.
And I think that's where it gets a little bit, I think where it had some remnants of the old was when the Black Lives Matter movement happened, when there were 550 rallies happening across the country, right? So they had a helm, right? They had the few that kind of founded the Black Lives Matter movement, but there was this decentralized tentacles from it that was able to disperse and create these 550 rallies. So there was a little bit of inkling, like they went back to the old
Grabs and
doctrine of how to do this thing.
Yes.
And I think they pulled
Yes.
from that, but then it doesn't feel like there's this full continuum. Like when we read about the civil rights movement,
Mhm.
there was a continuum into an end
Mhm.
to when the president signed the civil rights
Yes.
Yeah.
bill. So I think that's what we're missing. Is like we don't see the whole. We see some pieces, but
Right.
it's very, very diffused right now. And to your other point, Nikki, Bishop just talked about this
Mhm.
on Sunday.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I
heard-
loved how he framed it. And I know I'm probably gonna chop it up a little bit.
you're gonna do
But
all
he
right.
talked about, as a priest, they kind of, I think he said convert to meditate or mediate. Yes. He talked about priests converting to mediate. But if you are a kingly priest,
Mhm.
you're like converting to policy.
Right.
Like you're converting into an action.
Okay.
So you're not just there
To he-
just to
mediate.
yeah,
but
to mediate.
To cause some
but to
organization
call
around
some action,
and
to call
policy.
something
Mhm.
to
Yeah.
be moved. And I was like, there it is. And so I think there's a piece of it where again it's so diffused.
Mhm.
There's no like roof on the house.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? We got the walls and the doors and the windows, but there's no roof to people to look up and say, oh, okay, there's the cover.
Mhm.
Sandy had a quote, a comment rather. She says, the pastors that are preaching other than salvation, the discussion is usually other pastors instead of our plight as a group.
Mm.
So in other words, I think she's saying that, the pastors are preaching on salvation, but other than that, they just preaching about each other.
Which is
I agree with
I
her.
know,
That's
There's
what
really-
it
yeah,
is.
I mean, we're so busy pretty much tearing each other down
Mhm,
than we are lifting each other up,
Mhm.
or at least coming together
mhm.
to be one common,
Yeah,
one united
movement,
sound,
body,
one
the body
united
of- yeah,
voice,
yeah.
one united thought that we can,
Mhm.
perpetuate. Because like it or love it, the opposite side, the opposite end, they
Yep.
stick together.
Well, they
If
have.
they all lying, they all lying.
Mhm. They
You know what
they
I
had
mean?
the-
That's
yeah,
it.
I mean, they
All
all
the liars are sticking together, is what I'm saying.
yeah, they
all
all
the-
they have they have formed
They have
a
a
common
huge agenda.
focus,
Yes.
a common goal,
Yes.
and they have been driving and they have been successful in that. And the other thing I would say is that we've been spending too much time talking about salvation in heaven, and we still on here on this earth. And I believe the bishop is like, we could preach on that, and we could do that, but if you don't transform and use what you got going on right now on earth for the good,
Right.
then you're missing
Missing
the
the point.
mark of what your journey is supposed to be
Mhm.
like.
Right.
So you
Which
got
is how he ended up, sending out Pastor Terrace Todd.
yes.
And sending him
Mhm.
into,
There you-
Yes.
into DC for
Mhm.
politics.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's important. I think it is important for the church to reactivate
Yes.
in terms
Mhm.
of community involvement, grassroots organization,
yeah.
making sure that basic needs and justice
Mhm.
are pursued and are looked after.
Mhm. I agree.
I think it's time. I mean, it's past time. It's overdue.
I agree. I think that the Black church voice is missing from the conversation. And I wonder what it's going to take for ministries to come together so that there's one voice that's speaking.
Yeah.
And I don't mean one person, I mean the same
The same message.
message.
Yeah.
And standing together as opposed to being divided, because we're divided within ourselves, right?
Mhm.
And so how can we at least, and I know that it was the issues were a little different, but we're coming right back around to those same issues, right?
Mhm.
Coming right back
Because
around.
history repeats itself when
All
you
the
don't
time.
learn the lesson.
Exactly.
right.
Repeat the same
Right.
things.
I was
That's
thinking
right.
about this. I know this is not probably the way we were sort of talking, but I was thinking about this last night when I was in the bed and trying to figure out, or not just sort of thinking about it. we have more communication, you know,
Mhm.
more platforms to communicate. I mean, you have your Facebook, you have your TikTok, you have all these communication, more TV shows, more radio stations, internet radio, classic radio, but there's not one message.
Yeah.
And everybody's not saying the same thing. And so I think that is part of the issue, is that we have
Yeah.
more communication avenues and platforms, but we don't have the message.
I think there's
It's being unified
I
message.
don't mind, and I don't think the whole like civil rights leader thing. I don't think the issue was having diverse thought, diverse opinions, because we all have different
Mhm.
lived experience. But I do agree that if we could set some common goals that we all agree on, like if you believe that we all are human and should have equal rights
Mhm.
to design and guide our lives how we so choose, then that's the thing that, to your point, we collectively speak on. We don't splinter off because we don't like a certain thing or do a something thing. But I think we lost how to find the one or two things that
we
anchor
can
us
agree on.
all.
Yeah.
It's always like, and then you got to kind of think about it that this was not what this country was designed to do.
Mhm.
It had a very specific agenda. And now we're trying to back into this thing, but there's just some real held views and premises
Mhm.
that are keeping us from turning the corner. And it's
Mhm.
always the hook of keeping people divided.
Yes.
If we can just get the 2-3 common things and hold them and not be wavered by the things,
It's a long-tail strategy that continues to work.
It is.
It's
Because
a
anytime
long-tail
you
power
strategy.
and influence.
anytime you see people actually holding together and united on something, or if they all have that common thought,
Mhm.
it prevails.
It
It
prevails.
does.
It prevails.
It does.
I think about just a little bit when everyone said, let's, boycott Target, right?
Right.
Mhm.
And our boycotting Target had a huge
It did.
impact on
Mhm.
Target. But people's
Good
like,
evening,
I need to
Teresa.
get to Target because I still haven't gone to Target. I
Mhm.
refuse to go to Target.
Mhm.
But that was something very small. You can get the same, and so by doing that, just think if we all were to unify around something besides just, I think boycotting Target was very important.
Right.
But there were other things that could have been boycotted too, right?
Yeah.
And if we unified our voice and our dollars,
Mm-hmm. Agreed. But
Yeah,
but you
agreed.
have these alternate tools of
Mhm.
greed, power, and that was drives.
drives it.
Because we're a consumer. We
Mhm.
consume a lot and we want a lot.
Mhm.
So, and it's not the things that necessarily necessitates a long life and a healthy life.
No,
It's for self-interest and self-pursuit, really. So yeah, I mean, it's gonna have to take the whole Noah's Ark example to try to do that. Wash everybody out, take two of everything,
Right.
and then wash everything out. Then we could do this thing all over again.
Mhm.
Because it's and it's so simple and it's in our face, yet it is
A lot.
complex
Mhm.
and just thorny.
Yeah.
It's like a BHAG. What is it? Big, audacious. The other
Yeah,
ones.
big, audacious.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, let me. I gotta look up the BHAG. You never heard
Big, audacious idea or something like that. I have to.
Yeah, I have no idea what you're
Hold
talking
on.
Okay, look it up, Michelle.
I'm
I
looking
don't-
at-
about. In the meantime, the last quote that I was going to say
Mhm.
from Reverend Jesse Jackson is, "I'm too mature to be angry."
I need to put that on my
How about
wall.
Right.
Right.
How
That's a
about
good one.
that? I'm too mature to be angry.
I've not heard that quote, but I love that.
Yes, I thought that was very
Okay, I got it.
appropriate, because a lot of times, we always say, "You made me angry. You made me this. You made me feel this," but
Nobody can
we
make you
have
anything.
choices on how we.
You're in
choose
control
to
of your own
respond.
emotions.
Yes.
We have a choice. Every time we respond to something, we make a decision to
Mhm.
respond that way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And so, hey, yeah. So, yeah, I thought that was a very good quote, and I
That is
wanted
an
to make sure
excellent quote.
I said
I love that. That's a good way to end a quote. Like if
Yeah.
you go in something,
I'm too
too
mature,
mature to be angry.
Too mature to be
So
angry.
big head means for big, hairy, audacious goal.
Yeah. There you go.
Big,
Hairy.
Hairy, audacious goal.
goal. Okay.
Set
All
that
right.
goal that just makes everybody say, what? What?
Teresa says, we haven't felt the sting of disenfranchisement that prompted them to fight.
I
Man.
mean, I
Maybe
think there's some
probably
truth
not
to it.
enough of us.
Yeah, there's a ring
Because
of
I
truth
think,
to that.
you know what? I think some people still have that mindset that I'll take whatever I can get, as opposed to I deserve this.
Mhm.
And so I'll fight for this, as opposed to I'll just take whatever I can get. You know what I mean? Like, just the basic right of voting.
Mhm.
It's a basic
Mhm.
right. It should be a basic right for every single person.
If you're living in a democracy,
Right.
absolutely.
It's supposed to be a
Yes.
basic right. And so, you know, for people who don't vote, it's like,
Yeah.
they don't vote at all. And then
Well, they've been stung, right?
right.
They've been stung.
right, but they don't feel disenfranchised by not
Enough.
voting.
Enough.
Yes,
Yes.
enough.
Yes.
Enough. And you know what's so interesting about that too is there's this narrative, and I think there's a lot of narrative work that needs to be
Oh,
done.
absolutely.
I think a lot of people have so many misconceptions about
Mhm.
our history and why things are the way it is, and that's why they sit in atrophy
Mhm.
and not vote. When I look at the number of people who live in the city of Detroit and the
Mhm.
percentage that
Mhm.
vote,
Voted. It was
it is
Alarming.
depressing.
Yes.
And I'm like, so the mayor, hey mayor, that I'm cool, like yay, but like 17% voted out of
17.
all the people.
all the people.
So there's something there that needs to be
That's right.
unpacked and
Yes.
addressed. It's like, why aren't y'all? There's almost 700,000 of us, that lives in that lives in the city. I don't live in the city, but lives in the city. I work in the city. I pay city taxes. Just to be clear,
Come on now.
and only 17% of y'all vote.
Only 17%.
That is-
And
It is.
that's the majority of women, of course.
I didn't say that, but
But it is the majority of
that's true.
women.
It is
That is
heavily.
true.
Mhm.
I mean, but it's astonishing to me that you're not moved by that,
Mhm.
because right now they're trying to pass a law
They
that will
already did.
prohibit you from voting. They're talking about if you don't have a passport.
They already did.
Well, they say that it's coming. It's forthcoming. There's still time to stop it. But
Mhm.
if you don't have a passport, you can't just use your license no more.
And you can't, if you are married, I believe.
That's right.
If you're
That's included.
married, then that means that your married name has to appear on your birth certificate.
Correct.
What?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. And so if
Your-
you're
wait. Your married name,
yes, Michelle, look it up on because it's there on your phone.
your
Look it up.
married name. How can your married name be on your birth certificate?
You're
It's
married.
called the Save Act.
It's called the SAVE. Yes. Your married name needs to be on your birth certificate. And if it's not, and if you don't have I believe a passport, then they can stop you from voting. If I'm going to make sure I'm getting it right. That's why I said, Michelle, look it up, because there have been people who have been trying to fight this. It is supposed
That
to
makes
be.
no sense.
It's supposed to prevent illegal immigrants from
but
voting,
that makes
but they can't
no
vote
sense.
anyway.
Right, but that makes no sense. You can't be born married.
Right.
So you can't you can't be born married. So how in the world can they expect your married name to be on your birth certificate? Now they can say your married name must be on your passport. I can see that.
Yes.
Mhm.
But they can't say your married name has to be on your birth certificate. That just you're not born married. So it has to be that your married name must
Yes,
be on your
it has to.
passport.
Yeah.
And if your married name is not on your passport, and I'm not saying that they should do that, I'm just saying, but that has to be the
Yeah.
case. It can't be the other way around because nobody's born into this
So was
world.
the Safe Act make
married
it
to
harder for
somebody.
married women to vote?
Yes. For married women.
In order for married women to vote,
For married women.
So as
their
the Safe
married name has to be on their
American
passport.
Voter Eligibility Act heads to the state, so it hasn't passed yet. There has been growing debate on how the bill may affect voting for millions of married women, particularly those who have changed their last names if it becomes law. The legislation known as SAVE Act looks to make sweeping reforms on voter registration. It was introduced in response to fears about voter fraud. Among the most notable changes outlined in the bills is the requirement to prove U.S. citizenship before registering to vote. Acceptable documents will include a birth certificate, a U.S. passport, naturalization paperwork, and certain versions of the real ID that indicate citizenship. But for as many as 69 million American women who have taken on their spouse's name, their birth certificates no longer match the names they use today, according to this analysis. So meanwhile, more than half of all Americans do not have a passport. Some lawmakers who oppose it. So they didn't say, let me see, So I guess that's where the discrepancy
Yes.
is, where Tamara is talking about. Like, so if you have a married name, you take it on your spouse name, okay, who have taken their spouse name and their birth certificates no longer match the names they use today, there's going to be a problem.
There's going to be a problem. And that problem is because a lot of individuals, women who are married, they don't have a passport.
Well, no, I think they don't change their name. So once they get married and get divorced and keep the married name and their birth certificate is a different name, there's going to be a conflict.
There's going to be a challenge to it.
I don't understand that.
I don't either, because people get married.
Illegal immigrants voting was not a problem.
It was not a problem.
No.
But that's the narrative. Remember, it's the narrative that is being spun. It's not necessarily that's the problem, but it is the narrative.
Of course.
And as Michelle said, voter fraud as well.
Yeah, and so they talked about the bill have been said if married women change their name, they will not be able to vote.
That's what I said. And so
it makes no sense.
It makes no sense.
See, but here's the deal: a lot of people don't know this is happening.
Right.
A lot of people don't, and while everybody's talking about the Epstein files, which I think is important to talk about, there are things being passed right now that people don't even realize because they're all worried about somebody else's life.
Right. Who's dead?
Now
dead.
We acknowledge that he hurt a lot of people, and there's a lot of people involved in that hurt and that pain.
Right. Correct.
But right now, our voting rights are being
challenged
and could be stripped.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And
so that's something to stay on top of. But we digress. But this is still all a part about Black history because the civil rights, that was part of it, was the fight that they did around voter registration. So per the American Immigration Council, upon close examination of the evidence, it shows it is rare that non-citizens vote.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not the argument. The argument is we're in a fascist regime.
There you go.
Yeah.
So they're trying to pull back all this stuff. They're trying to take us back to the cotton fields. Okay. So it's serious.
Yeah.
It's serious. It's serious.
It's serious.
And I know this is far from what we were talking about with Jesse Jackson, but it aligns with that.
But this is the work. This is the work that needs to be done.
This is what he would be doing.
And I think that for ministries, yes, there is Sunday mornings, preaching, and there's Bible study, but there should also be something that says, okay, how do you get involved? What are the steps if you want to be an advocate and speak against these things and do it from a Christ-centered perspective? And so I think that's one of the things that's one thing that's missing. For me, I would love to see more churches inviting community organizers in to talk about the issues so that you know why it's important for you to vote.
For the church to even just put out, hey, did you know?
Did you know? Did you know?
I mean, that's to someone's point. That's they were the beacon of life where you could go and have these conversations. And this is where, and unfortunately, because Black folks couldn't convene any other place but the church,
Right.
or like our restaurants and food purveyors, or somebody host a house. I know there's a house that is oh Jesus.
Oh, okay.
I forgot the name of the doctors, but anyway, long or short, there is a new exhibit that's coming to the Henry Ford Museum, where there was a house in Selma that a woman who was running as a museum, it was her family home. And that was the home. I don't know if y'all remember the picture of Martin Luther King and a few of his other, I'll call them disciples, around a bed. And he was in these pajamas, and the men were sitting on the bed.
I feel like I saw that at the museum or something. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I've seen it somewhere.
So anyway, that house, the woman could no longer maintain it, and she called Henry Ford and asked him to, "Do y'all want this home?" Because it had such significance. Because that's where Dr. King watched. Which president at that time? He was on it was a picture of him with a little girl on his lap, and it was the TV on, and he was watching.
Yep, I remember
that. You remember
picture.
that?
Okay.
Lord, I'm bad on names. But anyway, they're bringing that house here.
Bringing the house here?
Yeah, they sawed the house in half and shipped it in halves over here, and now they're putting it back together and they're creating a whole exhibit around this home that was a beacon for a lot of the folks from the South going and traveling to come and have these meetings and convene and strategize. So to say that we only had a few safe places to go.
So it's the Jackson House is what they call it.
The Jackson House. Yes, the Jackson House. Not Michael Jackson, y'all.
Not Michael Jackson.
But in the house was in the neighborhood of where there were prominent doctors and notable Black notables of that time there, and the woman who from Selma.
Okay.
And so I think the exhibit will be opening this year. I think it's worth going. I actually took a tour in October of the home and what they were doing, and how it is part of the continuing story of how our leaders were and just ordinary people who were taking the chance, because their lives were at risk too, to be able to be a safe haven for these folks to come and have these meetings and these gatherings, and to be able to sleep on their way to go travel somewhere to give a speech or something like that. So it's real important to, again, understand these stories and how folks, it was such a time as that where you only had these few places. And I feel like definitely churches were that. I mean, when you talk about their role in the Underground Railroad, when you talk about all their important roles in being safe haven and safety for people running from freedom,
feeding, clothing, washing,
they were everything. If you had a Black church in your neighborhood, you can go to them to get support, to get help. And I feel like, today, I don't think people are seeing the church that way.
No, church has become performance. It's all about the music. It's all about
pomp and circumstance.
Smoke machines and
people on wires flying over, flying over
we
people.
Talked about that. We talked about that.
I think we did.
It was Brothers Church scene.
Yeah, it was pretty much. Yes, we did. We talked about
that.
The Drewski skit.
Last
January.
It was January.
Yeah.
Well, February, me and my girls, we took a trip to DC. I had to go anyway, and we had the opportunity. I had an opportunity to take my grandchildren, who are not children anymore. They're children, but they don't
old. Pay no real taxes.
They don't pay taxes.
Children.
They kids, And
until you pay some real taxes.
Micah came along. We all went to the Black History Museum.
Nice.
And had a phenomenal time. And when I tell you that they were all into it, we were in there for a good 6 hours. We got there like 9:30, 10 o'clock, and we didn't leave until they put everybody out. We were there that long. And I think that if you have the means, everyone should go to that museum, because it is full of ordinary people doing extraordinary things.
And I would say, if you can't go there, go to the Charles Wright, because actually the curators that curated the museum in Washington, D.C., that started in Detroit. So
Yes.
we
have a
help
gym in our
them.
own community.
Yeah,
And there's so many hidden things about Detroit that are just amazing.
Oh
Yeah,
my
that
so-
people
God, just
don't know.
amazing.
We
Yes.
Shall Ride exhibit is at the Charles Wright. Please go, please
Go,
visit,
go,
because
go,
the
go.
same things you will experience there.
Yes.
It's at a smaller scale
Smaller
because the
scale.
museum is a bit smaller, but the curators that did that work in our own backyards in the city did that in
Mhm.
that Smithsonian
And not just that,
museum.
but there are so many
So,
places in the city of
little known
Detroit
fact.
that you can go to to talk about our history.
Yeah.
And I think that it's typical that when you live in a community that's full of history and full of art, that you don't go to the
You don't
places
know.
you don't know or you don't go.
You don't
But
know.
you'll go hundreds of miles away to
Of
see
course,
something.
Of course.
And I think we need to
I
explore what we
always
have
say
in our own
explore your
community.
own home, like the historical Jackson House. Yes, is a key meeting place. Absolutely.
Yes.
You are exactly right, Sandy.
I'm
That is
excited because a
true.
lot of kids go to Greenfield Village.
Yes.
Yeah.
They
Well,
and
they got a
I'm
high
excited
school there.
about-
They
I'm
got a
ex-
middle school and a high school
I'm
there.
excited, but for folks that don't, it's still a place where you go on a field trip.
Well, I think however you get exposed,
Yes,
exposed.
yes.
But I do agree with you. The more go back again and
Mhm.
again, because there's
Always
always
something new.
something new, something to experience. Also, for those who are theater heads, Katori Hall is presenting The Mountaintop at the Detroit Public Theater. That is the story the night before Martin Luther King died. Powerful. I saw it this Sunday. There's a lot of good things in the city to see and do. So
Yes.
see and do them particularly, and also support Charles Wright Museum.
Yes.
I mean, it's $50 for a whole year's subscription, and you get access to all the exhibits, all the activities, including the African World Festival. And it's only asking for $50 a year.
Not bad.
That's not
So
bad.
please, if you don't have one, get one.
Yes.
So let's sort of transition to talk about. We have about 15 minutes under. Let's talk about some folks that is doing some really wonderful things for Black history. We know about our past leaders that really helped to galvanize. But what about some current leaders that are doing some phenomenal things?
Oh, it's there's so many people, known and unknown. Some
Known
people
and
are
unknown.
quietly doing their warrior work.
Mhm.
And then there's some that are visible, right? Because they're really trying to bring people together.
Yeah.
And not just bring people together, but even if you can't be physically in solidarity, you can be verbally or they're monetarily
Monetarily.
supporting.
Yeah.
I think of Brian Stevenson of the Equal Justice Initiative, who also opened up the Legacy Museum in Montgomery, Alabama. If you have not been, you need to go.
Mhm.
But I'm also, so that we can name all the people
Yeah.
who were associated with the Black Lives Matter.
Yes.
There's a lot of great people here in the city of Detroit. But I think what we don't tell enough stories of, because when you think about Jesse and the Reverend Jesse and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., they were young.
Yes.
They were not no 30, 40, 50-year-old men. They were young men started out in, hey, Sandy, I know that's right. Be subscribe to the Charles Wright. Tell all your friends.
Instead of subscribing to that Facebook post or that person.
I'm done. But that's a good
Subscribe.
point. But that's a good
Subscribe.
point. They were very, very young.
Mhm.
And so when I think of some of the young folks that I've come across in my work, when I think about Shamir Duncan. Ooh, I had to think of Duncan Hines.
Go ahead, use that word association.
Yeah, absolutely. Use all my Sesame Street lessons. Stay with me. She's a youth organizer in the city, a youth engagement specialist in the city of Detroit. But she also is a entrepreneur, and I want to make sure I get her stuff right. She's an entrepreneur, and I bought some of her stuff, and it is some dynamite jewelry. I must say, I was getting
jewelry.
jewelry. Yeah, I did.
I'm
Before I leave the broadcast, I'll look it up. But she, started at here it is. So she's She Sold Detroit is a woman-led jewelry and creative lifestyle brand rooted in Detroit spirit.
Oh, I think I got a t-shirt.
We blend handcraft accessories, art,
Yes.
and community experiences that empower women, youth, and spark joy across the city.
cool.
And so she was actually a summer intern with the Detroit program at where I work. And I mean, they and another intern put together a summer summit for youth at our offices. They organized it.
That's
They
awesome.
prepared the questions. They was like, in order for you all to do your work well, you need to make sure that voice is embedded in the work that you do, and that you include us, not just inform us,
Yes.
but include
Don't make
us.
decisions about us without us.
Right?
Yes.
And they did a great job. Then they left us this booklet. Oh, here's how to implement what we all just said y'all need to do.
I love
And
that.
they said when we graduate, we'd be happy to come back and do it for
I
you.
love
I
that.
said, well,
Nice.
I
I
said,
love that.
so
kid
the Moodle, that's the whole kid. So that energy
Mhm.
is there. I just think there's not enough platforms, if you will,
Mhm.
or maybe there is, and I'm not tapped into it. I don't want to assume that it's
Yeah.
not. I'm gonna take that back. I'm sure there's platforms out there where young folks
Yes.
are telling their stories and sharing with the world all the great things that they're doing.
I think
but
they're
I feel
doing
like
a
we
better
need
job
more.
than the adults are doing, sharing their platforms and teaching us
Yes.
how to come together.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of youth out there doing it. I wanted to bring
Across many
forward,
forms.
is that we when I was in DC, we also went to the space and the what was it, the Space Museum as well.
Mm.
And my granddaughter wants to be an astrophysicist.
Nice.
I know. Who'd have thought? And so she just totally, nerded out at the Space Museum. And so I want to let you know of something that we don't really talk about is that Black astronauts.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so Victor J. Glover, he was selected to fly to the moon as the pilot of the Artemis 2 mission, which will launch in March. So this
Beautiful.
Black brother
Come on now.
is going to pilot the next trip to the moon. And so
Wow.
I think that be on the lookout for it, because it would be wonderful if the Black community was, cheering on this
Yes.
Black brother who is
Yes.
doing phenomenal work. And if you have a chance, there's a documentary right now on, I think it's YouTube, and it's called The Color of Space.
Mm.
And it's 2 episodes that I've seen, a series, and watch it. It is phenomenal what some of the African Americans are doing in space.
I'm not surprised considering when you watch the movies, what was
Hidden
it?
Figures.
Hidden Figures.
yeah.
Yes.
Like we've been involved in space
For
for
a long
a
time.
long time.
Long
This
time.
is not anything new, but to your
Yes.
point, these are the stories that need to
To
be
be told.
told.
And they're being told, but maybe we are spending too much time on TikTok, but I will say TikTok can get some good information now. Come on now. TikTok got some good information, but if we could pull our faces out of
captain.
by the way.
he's the captain, but if we could pull our faces away from it and watch some of these documentaries,
Oh, I
oh
love
my God, it was
Yeah, I love
so good.
documentaries,
It
too.
was so good,
I
and how he's working
actually-
with youth.
I actually met the first Black captain for Delta Airlines, which is a Black woman.
Wow.
Which is a Black
Wow.
woman. And she actually works here in Detroit. She's on the board of the Tuskegee Airmen
Yes.
Academy that is here in Detroit.
Nice.
So they teach and license young folks, 14
Yeah.
and up.
Mhm.
Like when they graduate from there, they are able to send them to aerospace school for
Nice.
free
Oh, wow.
with a license already.
Let
So
me
it's not
tell you.
they can't fly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it was wonderful because I was watching the documentary. There's a 14-year-old boy that was interested in flying and in space when he was 7 years old and got connected to the right programs. And now he has his pilot's license at 14 and wants to be an astronaut.
That's
And
cool.
so
Mhm.
our kids are phenomenal.
Yes, they are.
The stories that are told are always about the ones that are not doing so great. But when you take a young boy or a young girl and you mentor them the right way,
Yeah.
the potential is limitless.
I don't even know if it's mentoring and just believing in the dreams that they
Believing,
have for
yes.
themselves. And it's not to say, oh, you're never going to make no money doing that,
Right.
or you're never
Exactly.
going to, be anything because of that. But if we nurture their
Well,
dreams
mentoring is
and
what
allow,
I'm talking about. Nurturing is the same thing.
yeah,
That's
I
how
mean,
see it, yes.
just believe in their dream. Just
Believing
believe
in
in their
their
dream.
dream.
Just invest it. If they want to be,
Support.
just
When my
support.
granddaughter told me she
support.
wanted to study astronomy, I was like, okay, well, girl, let's do this.
Mhm.
You know, she
Don't
saw,
be like, you ain't gonna make no money.
she
That
saw
don't make no
somebody
sense.
at her school that was a Black astronaut, a woman, and she said, that's what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, what? Just tell us what you want to do. And so we need to support our children.
We do. We need to support their dreams and quit trying to squash it down because we can't see the vision.
Yes.
Just support the
because
vision.
Ours didn't work.
Right. Or we've gone callous to imagining.
Yes,
Because
yeah.
I think we have stopped imagining
I
because
think when
of
we
the
grow
stuff.
up, that
Yeah, we
grow-
stop
that's
imagining.
Peter Pan.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We get to paying bills and doing all the stuff
Paying
and,
taxes.
trying to understand how Peter get all the money because he robbing Paul.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of the Peter Pan story. Taking away all that other stuff is that Peter Pan
Or was it robbing Peter? Go ahead.
robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Robbing Peter.
To pay
Paul got all the money.
Yeah,
Paul got all the money.
But it was about keep holding on to your imagination and your
Yeah, keep imagining.
Keep imagining, because if I'm not mistaken, there are a lot of African Americans and people in general who didn't realize who they were and blow up, if we want to use that word, until they were in their 50s, in their 60s.
Well, come on then.
Yeah. So it ain't too late for me, y'all.
Never too late
It's
for
never too
anybody,
late.
but
Never
you
too late,
gotta
never too late,
don't
never
be
too late.
afraid to imagine and dream. And
And
that's what Martin
dream.
Luther King, Dr. Reverend Jesse
I have a
Jackson
dream.
did.
Yes.
That's what all of them did. They
Mhm.
saw something in the future
Yes.
and they invested in everything they had in the presence to just march towards
The
that future.
Mhm.
And it sounded ridiculous to a lot of people. It was like, how we gonna get that? It's too hard.
Well, they should
It
have
take
learned
too
something from Noah.
long. You know what I mean? They should learn from a lot from the people from the Bible because because it was a
Noah was
long.
trying to get them on
Some years.
Yes.
He built that ark for a long time.
It's a
And he
long
was trying to get people to come
Long
along,
time.
but they was like, you building that ark, you stupid.
I don't think what sounded like that.
And then look what happened. We
Yep.
always bring it back to the word.
You always bring it back to the word. I mean, because the word what still
Because there is
stands.
nothing new under the sun.
It is not, and
Things like I said, history repeats itself.
some of it shouldn't. But to your point, we ain't learned our lesson
We ain't learned nothing.
because we keep bringing a hammer to the problem when we probably need a skillet. Need to cook it.
I'm going to, since we have like a couple of minutes left,
Yes.
I just want to shout out Amanda Gorman,
Okay.
the poet. Y'all remember her? Poet,
Yes, yes.
young poet. So I think she's like in her 20s, late
Yep.
20s now. But she was the poet that she was the first poet to
Mhm.
do a poem at inaugural.
That's
um,
right.
Yes. Gifted.
Yeah.
Young,
Yes.
gifted, and black.
The first person ever to be named in the National Youth Poet Laureate.
You laureate. You got it.
Yes. And she also was the first person to recite a poem during the Super Bowl.
Yes.
She has a nonprofit called One Pen, One Page
I love that.
supports youth literacy and has worked with her brands like Estee Lauder and Prada.
That
Yep.
is so phenomenal.
She was wearing yellow during that
Mhm.
inaugural celebration because of Biden's wife.
Mhm.
She was the one who recommended her. I didn't know that. She was the
Mm.
one who recommended her
Oh,
to do
wow.
that. Biden's wife.
Okay.
I know, right? So as we get ready to close, because we're almost done here, I found this poem by Amanda. It's not the one that she did
At the
for the
inaugural.
president, but this one spoke to me because it says hymn for the hurting.
Mm.
It's called Hymn for the Hurting. So as we end tonight, and thank you all for watching. It's been an
you.
amazing night and a really, really great conversation. I'm going to just read this poem and then we'll end for tonight. Everything hurts. Our hearts shadowed and strange, minds made muddied and mute. We carry tragedy, terrifying and true. and yet none of it is new. We knew it as home, as horror, as heritage. Even our children cannot be children, cannot be. Everything hurts. It's a hard time to be alive, and even harder to stay that way. We're burdened to live out these days while at the same time blessed to outlive them. This alarm is how we know we must be altered, that we must differ or die, that we must triumph or try. Thus, while hate cannot be terminated, it can be transformed into a love that lets us live. May we not just grieve, but give. May we not just ache, but act. May our signed right to bear arms never blind our sight from shared harm. May we choose our children over chaos. May another innocent never be lost. Maybe everything hurts, our hearts shadowed and strange, but only when everything hurts, may everything change.
Beautiful.
And on that note,
See you
we
next week.
love you, and we will see you on the next third Tuesday with My Sister, Your Sister on
Yes.
WVTC Detroit.
Thank you for joining us.
Good
happy
night.
Black History Month.
Celebrate.
Well, that's a wrap on another episode of My Sister, Your Sister. Now, don't keep this to yourself. Tell a sister or a brother and join us next month on the third Tuesday
At 8 p.m. Eastern.
on WVTC Detroit. Stay in touch with us via email at sistersllc@gmail.com and partner with us via Cash App at $MSYSCOMM. Peace out.
Let me at thy throne of mercy and see, find a sweet relief.
What's up, everybody? This is Larry Whitfield, station manager of WVTC Radio Detroit. I need you to save the date, Friday, March 27, 2026. My big sister, Evangelist Sandy Rose, will be celebrating her birthday and 50 years. Gospel music. Remember, Friday, March 27, 2026. Save the date. Don't miss it.
You're listening to WVTC Gospel Radio Detroit, and we're flowing in the Spirit.